First, I want to show you one simple example of array program. How to define an integer array. So this is a program where I have defined one integer array of size 5 and name of the array is A. And I have used another integer variable I which will be used for indicating the array index. So according to the first rule, first we have to take input from keyboard. That is from the keyboard, how we can take input? We have to use scanf function. And in the scanf, what kind of value we are taking? We want to take some integer value because it is an integer array. So for that reason, the specifier will be %d and I want to store, mark this point here. I want to store each element of the array in a specified location. So for that reason, ampersand a of I. Ampersand a of I means I want to store all the elements of the array in a specific address location. So this is how we can take input. That is, we need a loop because the index value in this loop will start from 0 and it will iterate up to the maximum size of the array. So size of the array is 5. So it will continue up to 5 and each time the index value will be incremented by 1. So since we have started our index from 0, so 0 to less than 5 means it contains 6 value. So simple. So this is how we will take input using scanf and one loop, and this is how we can provide the output in the output console using one printf statement and for loop. This is a basic structure that we have to remember. So if I execute this code, so enter the elements. So I will enter the elements one by one. So I'm just checking how many. So my point is, you can use array subscript or index to access any element stored in the array. Subscript starts with 0, which means A of 0 represents the first array element of an array, and in general a n minus 1 can be used to access the nth element of an array, right, where n is an any integer number. Try to understand. So here n is your 5. To access fifth element, you have to use a 5 minus 1. So this is the convention that you have to understand. So this is a very basic question and very basic solution of an array. But we know that how we can take static input in an array. So static input means at the time of defining an array, I will assign the value statically. Means those values are not taken from the keyboard via the programmer. It is provided at the beginning while writing the code. So this is a static implementation. And now here again try to understand, for printing array element I have to continue from the index number 0 to 5. So for printing an array element I have to use one loop. So this is your another definition or another way how we can take input in an array. So it's a static mechanism. So if I run the code, so these are the static value it is showing. So see, whatever static value I have taken 60, 96, 45, 77, 86, it is showing, right? But this is not our topic of discussion. So our topic of discussion is right now how to use the concept of pointer for defining any array. But the thing is, why this question is coming? Why I am introducing pointer while defining an array? So the point is very simple. I have discussed just now, whenever we are defining any array with some specific name, it should have some index value, fine. And whenever I am writing the array name and the index value, it indicates some particular element. But I have mentioned one more topic, that is, whenever I just write only array name, it indicates the base address. So here my point is, this is the point from where I will extend the concept of array. Means I will define array with the help of some concept of pointer. Now make sure you have understood this point. So name of the array means I am talking about the starting address or the base address. Now how it is related. So consider we have an array of size 5 and say I have one integer variable I for iterating purpose. Now if I take input from keyboard, so I will use this iterator less than 5 starting from 0, and iterator will be incremented by 1. Now we know that we have to use scanf function, and since it is an integer, so I will use %d specifier. Now you are expecting that I will write percent of array name and then the iterator, because in the previous programming I have discussed, I am taking value or element in an array means I am taking element at a specified address location, because each location starts with some address. So now ampersand means at some specific location or at some specific address I am taking the value. But here I will change this concept a bit. Instead of writing this notation, fine, this notation is correct, but I can write one more thing. Here I can write array name plus I, means the syntax will be then scanf. I want to take integer value, so specifier will be %d, and instead of writing %a of I, here I will write a plus I. So there is no concept of ampersand. Why? So now mark this point. So I will explain this point by extending this idea. So using name of the array means I am using the base address. So here what I am doing, here A means base address plus the iterator value. So when the iterator value is 0, it indicates base address plus 0, means it is taking value at the first location. Then when the I value will be incremented by 1, then it will be base address plus 1. So similarly, it will come to the second location and it will take the value at the second location. So here try to understand, here I am discussing some equivalent notation. So I can say that writing this line, that is taking value at some specific index, it needs ampersand, and this is equivalent to this line, only the array name plus I. You can use any one of the notation while using scanf. Now try to understand the second concept. So how we can print the value? Simple. For printing again the same notation, we have to iterate the index value starting from 0 to the maximum length of the array, and index will be incremented by 1, and then I will write printf. Then I want to print some integer value, and then I will print the value of each element, means value of the element r- that exists in the array location. A of I means A of 0 means the first location. A of 1 means the second location. So I'm printing the value of array location. Now here another alternative. Instead of writing A of I can write an equivalent notation. What is that? Here I want to print value of array. So value of array means we know that, so star means value of. I have discussed while discussing pointers. So star means value of. Now value of what? Value of base address plus the iterator. So this is the base address. So a plus, so I means base address plus 0. When the value of I is 0, so it will print the value of base address plus 0. It means it will print the first value. Then I will be incremented by 1. Then it will print value of base address plus 1. Value of base address plus 1. Then it will print the content of the second address. So my second point is, instead of writing a of I, the equivalent notation is you can write base address plus iterator, and I want to print its value. So this both notations are same. So here my conclusion is, whenever I write a of 0 means the first content, I want to print the first content. The equivalent notation of this is star a, means value of the base address. Value of the base address means this is the base address and the value of the base address is 11. So these notations are equivalent. Similarly, I can say ampersand a of 0 means address of the first location. Address of the first location means a base address. So the equivalent notation of this is a. So if I write just the array name, then also it means the same address of the first location. So if I extend this concept further, then I can say that a of 1 means I want to print the second value of the second position of the array. So its equivalent notation will be value of the base address plus 1. Similarly, ampersand of a of 1 means address of the second location, and the equivalent notation will be base address plus 1. So if I generalize this formula, then we will get a of I, which is equivalent to value of a plus I, and ampersand a of I, which is equivalent to a plus I. So this notations you have to remember each and every time. So this is the main concept of integer array whenever we want to define an integer array with respect to a pointer. Let's check this one. So here what I did, I define an integer array and the maximum value is 5, means the size of the array is 5, and then I have one iterator, that is I, of type integer. So simply I have taken the value. So here what I did, instead of writing ampersand a of I have used the notation base address plus I. So I've used this equivalent notation. And here while printing the value of the array, I have to write A, then within third bracket I have to write I. So instead of writing this, I have used value of means star base address plus I. That's it. So instead of writing this notation A of I while printing, I have used this notation, and instead of writing this ampersand of AI while taking input from keyboard, I have used this notation base address plus I. So that's it. So both are equivalent. So I'm just entering the elements. So same thing, I'm taking input and it is providing me the output. Now I have one more point to discuss here. I have implemented the same concepts with some different mechanism. Now try to find out what I did in this program. See, here I have used one array of size 5, and here I haven't used scanf. I have taken all the values statically, and also this program is a classical example of double data type. Means whenever my array is defined as double, I can take values of decimal, that is 3.1, 5.9, something like this. So my point here is, the first point is, apart from integer array, we may have array of type double. So this is how we can take static value in double array. And here I have taken one pointer variable, that is star p. And while defining pointer, I have mentioned the data type of the pointer will be same as the data type of the array or the variable, because in the next step what I will do, I will store the address of this array to this pointer, because pointer is a variable that is specially designed to hold address of another variable. So here there is no other variable, there is an array. So therefore I'm going to use this pointer to hold the address of this array. So how to write this line? So the syntax will be the only pointer variable name which is equal to the variable name. Now mark this point. So I have one array of type double type. I have one array with some static values, and I have taken one pointer of type double. Fine. Why I have used this pointer? Because now I am going to assign address of another variable into the pointer. So I don't have any variable, so I want to assign address of array into the pointer. So now how to assign address of a variable? So we have to write ampersand and then the variable name. This is how we can assign address of some variable. Now the question is, while defining array, we have so many addresses. So which address to assign? So the answer is, in case of array, you have to assign only the base address. And according to my discussion, how we can assign base address of the array? If we mention just the array name, then the base address of the array will be assigned to this pointer. So as a result, what will happen? This pointer will hold the address or the starting address of the array, right? So now check out this code. So in this code, I have written p equal to a, means base address of the array a is now assigned to p. So now what I did, I'm just going to print all of this provided inputs. So how to print? Here I have written p plus I and value of. So I want to see the values. So I have written star. Star means value of p plus I. Now what is the meaning of p plus I? P is holding the base address. So P means the base address of an array. So P plus I means base address plus I. P plus I means base address plus I. So base address plus I means it will keep on printing the value of the array. So please see this line once. So value of base address plus the iterator, because P is now holding the base address of the array A. And also this line is equivalent to if I write star A plus 1, because value of base address plus 1. So both the syntax are equivalent. Here P is holding the base address and here A itself is denoting the base address of a particular array. Now let's check the output. See, this is the output. Star p plus I, it is printing the same thing. P plus 0, at p plus 0 position we have 3.1, 3.1. Then p plus 1 position we have 5.9. See, in the second position we have 5.9. And this same notation, a plus I means again a plus 0 means value of a plus 0 means 3.1, value of a plus 1 means 5.9. So both the notations are same. So these are the equivalent notation. So this is a classical example of double pointer, where explicitly I have taken one pointer variable and I have assigned the address, base address of the array in the pointer, and then I have shown two equivalent notation. But mark one point, but in the previous problem, I haven't taken any explicit pointer variable. I have just used the base address, and then I have shown what is the concept of base address plus I and value of base address plus I. So here no explicit pointer variable is taken, and here I have taken one explicit pointer variable and assigned one base address into that pointer. So this is how we can define integer and as well as double array along with pointer. But now I have one more topic to discuss. So apart from integer array and double array, similarly we have a concept of character array. Now I will discuss one very significant point, that how character array can be used with the concept of pointer. So now I will define how to deal with character array with the concept of pointer. Say I have one character array A. Say it is an unbounded array. And in this unbounded array, say I am storing one string. Say I'm just writing happy coding. Say this is my array. So what is the meaning of this line? We know that in the memory, a space will be allotted, and here it will be written as HAPPY, happy, then space. We have the blank space here, and then we have coding. But since it is a character array, so we have one extra character, that is null. So mark one point here. What is the size? So here basically my point is, here the size is 13 consecutive bytes. So we have 13 consecutive bytes. Why I'm talking about bytes? Because size of the character data type is 1 byte. So we have assigned 13. Now we have one specific notation over here. Similarly, I can also write one character pointer. And in the character pointer also I can store this same string, happy space coding. Now here the question is, what is the memory allocation and what is the size of the memory? Because in the previous case the size of the memory will be 13 consecutive byte. Now what will happen here? Now this is the most important point. Whenever I'm storing one particular string in a pointer, what happens? Array will be created, fine. Then for pointer, additional 4 byte is created. Additional 4 byte is assigned. So for pointer, additional 4 byte will be assigned. This is for pointer P, and this pointer will point to the first address to this array. So after writing this line, this pointer will hold this string by pointing to the base address of the array. And for this pointer, additionally I need 4 byte. So how many memory space is required? 13 plus 4, that is 17 bytes are allotted for this syntax. Now I have one question. Why for pointer we need 4 byte? Why not it is a 1 byte? Because it is a character pointer. For pointer, say if the starting address is 2000, so it needs 2000 to 2003. So this is the size of the pointer. So now this is the most important question that will come in your aptitude exam as well as in your exam. In this case, the consecutive memory size will be 13 bytes. But if I write this line, then I need 17 bytes. So this is the disadvantage of a pointer. While explaining pointer and while explaining array, we have discussed that array is all about a static memory allocation. Means whatever may be the size of the array, whether it is required or not, that amount of memory will be allotted. Means 0 to 19, this will be assigned. So there, if you are using half of the space, then also this space will be allotted and it will be a wastage. Means you cannot resize. Whatever you have defined, you cannot resize. So as a remedy, we can do one thing. We can perform dynamic memory allocation. So what is this dynamic memory allocation? So I have discussed that there is one option we can do. So we can forget about array. So instead of writing array, we can do one thing, that is we can use dynamic memory allocation. Now, how to do this dynamic memory allocation? So for using dynamic memory allocation means if I want to define a memory dynamically, then I have to use one function that is known as malloc. Fine. Since it is a function, it will look like this. And also the second point is malloc means it will allocate some chunk of memory. And since it is allocating a chunk of memory, again it will have some base address, and this base address, I have to store this base address into some pointer. So we have to store this base address into some pointer. And since malloc is a function, just like main is also a function, and we should have a return type of this function. So similarly, we have a return type of the malloc, but the return type of the malloc function is void. However, whenever we define some memory for storing any element, if it will be of some type of specific data type, so I have to convert the return type of the malloc from void to that specific data type. So here I have to write some typecasting concept, means in which data type I want to convert. So for an example, whichever pointer variable I am using, this pointer variable C is of type character. So the default return type of the malloc is void. So I have to convert its return type from void to character. So I have to write character star. So here I am just typecasting. Typecasting means I'm just doing this. I'm just changing the return type of the malloc function from void to character so that it matches with the data type of the pointer. And here what I have to do? Here I have to define what amount of memory I need. So as an alternative, I have explained that if I write size of some data type, so here the data type is character, then size of is a function that returns the size of the character. So it will return 1 byte. So if I write this code like this, so it will allocate for me 1 byte of memory. But if I increase the size of this memory, then I can write say 100 into 1 byte, 100 into 2 byte, then it will allocate 100 bytes of memory for me. But there is one more discussion. Can I make it dynamic? Means can I write it n into size of character where n is decided by the programmer? Yes, I can allocate this memory where the size of the memory is decided by the programmer. So here instead of 100 I have to write n, and this n I have to take input from the keyboard. That is, by using scanf function, I will just take that, I will prompt the user how many memory you need or enter the memory size. Enter the memory size. So whatever memory size is provided by the user, it will store it in the n, and this n is supplied here, and accordingly the memory chunk will be created, right? So this is how we can create a dynamic memory allocation. So dynamic memory allocation with the help of malloc function, and always the base address of the malloc function will be stored in a pointer of some specific data type. So for that reason, we need a typecasting, and here we have to decide the size of the memory chunk that we are going to design. After allocating this malloc function, then the thing is we have to print the value of the malloc. How to print? We know that since it is a memory chunk, so I have to traverse each time to print each and every element in the malloc. So how to print? So again I have to use a loop, and the size of the loop is now decided by the user. So it is n and I plus plus. So how to print? I can print the value by using just writing. I am taking character element. I have to write the array value. That is, here P is the holder of the base address. So I will write P of I, because here P is holding the starting address of the malloc. So I can write P of I. And how to take input? Again, I have to use a for loop. From I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. And similarly, I can use one scanf function to take input from keyboard. That is, I want to take character type of value. And where should I store? At the specific location. Specific location means the base address plus iterator. So this is how we can take input, and this is how we can print. So it is just like array implementation. But here, where is the puzzle? Say this program. So in this program, instead of array, using the concept of array means how to take input in an array or how to print the content of an array, we know that. I am using the same logic here, but to enforce dynamic behavior, instead of array, I am just here using malloc function. That's it. Means no array is there. I am just using malloc function. Since I am using malloc function, I am using one standard library function stdlib.h. So this malloc function is defined in stdlib.h. And here, what is the meaning of p equal to this line? The p is a pointer variable of type character, and P is now holding the starting address of the memory chunk allotted by the array. And what is the size of the malloc? I don't know. Here I have used the value n. So whatever value is supplied from the keyboard, that value will be assigned here, and accordingly the memory value will be evaluated. So that is the point. So after defining malloc, this is how I am taking input from keyboard, and this is how I am printing the output. So there is nothing new, but there is one puzzle. Let me execute this code first. So enter the number of character to store means what is the value of n? So 5. So now I will start entering the character value. First location A, second location D, third location F, fourth location H, then N, and then see this is the element. So see A, D, F, H, N. So these values I have entered in the different location, and I am getting the output. So this value I have entered. So this is, so how I have entered this value at each location? By using scanf. Means base address plus I. I am taking input one by one. And how I am printing? P of I. Just like an array. So this is how it is printing. Means here it is printing the output of the malloc function just like a 1D array. A, D, F, H, N. But try to understand one point. This is the point. Here I have written percent %s, and here I have written percent %c. So percent %s means specifier for string, and percent %c means specifier for character. Fine. But why not I have written percent %c here also? See, each whenever I'm executing this code, I'm just taking one character. How many character we need? 5. Then see, I'm taking one character one by one. So since I'm taking one character each time, so here I have to write percent %c. And here since I'm printing one character, each and every character, so here I have written percent %c. It is fine. But why it is percent %s? So you can think that, okay, I made some mistake. So I'm just writing percent %c here. Now check what will happen. So how many number to store? 6. So now I'm taking value one by one. See what is the problem I'm facing? See, P of 0. I haven't take any value at the location P of 0 because it starts from P of 1, right? And then P of 2, I don't know. Then it starts from P of 3. So that is the problem because I haven't changed anything. I just change, means I have just write here percent %c because percent %c is justified because I'm taking character. Each time I'm taking one character. But if I write here percent %s, everything works fine. So what happened to this code? This is a classical example of malloc. First point. And malloc function is defined from stdlib. And malloc function has two parts. The first part is used for typecasting so that it matches with the pointer. And the second part is used to decide the memory chunk, the size of the memory chunk, right? And now the rest of the part, how to take input and how to display the output, it is typically same as array. So what we can do here? So my question is, this is the puzzle at your end. What happens here? Next, this is the classical example of edit set. Now, why we have used edit set? We have used edit set so that our scanf function can take input along with the space. Let's check. So this is how we can define edit set, right? This is the syntax of edit set we have discussed. Now I have to check while executing this code, this scanf function can take the input with space or not. See, it is taking Java space C. So now my edit function is working. But what will happen if I just write scanf function and I want to execute the same code with the same input, Java space C. So according to my discussion, it is proven that our scanf function will not be able to take the value after space, blank space. So it has only considered Java. So after space we have C, so it has not considered C as an input. So this is the drawback of scanf function. And what if it is all about scanf percentage, right? And what if I write scanf percent %c? Then I'm giving the same input Java space C. So it is taking the first character only. Since we have percent %c here, percent %c means one character. So here I have taken, it is given as in output as J only. So rest of the part will be discarded. So this is one of my hint. So what is the difference between percent %s and percent %c? As a layman, I can see whenever I'm using percent %s, no ampersand is used. And whenever I'm using percent %c, ampersand is used because I'm printing one character of some specific location. And here percent %s means I am considering the string. So here there is one syntactical difference I am getting. For percent %s we don't have to mention ampersand, but for percent %c we have to mention ampersand. So you have to try out all this syntax. So this is the syntax of edit set, and I'm just deactivated all the lines. Each time you just open one line, activate one line, and then you just try them out. So this is a classical example of edit set, and this is a classical example of percent %s with scanf, and this is a classical example of percent %c with scanf. So you can use this hint for the previous programming. The second question that will be asked in the interview, that is, what happens if I provide ampersand of s with the specifier percent %s? there will be any error or not? So my answer will be there will be no error. Proven? But if I provide any input with the space, so it will not consider the value after the space. First point. However, I can use the same syntax without ampersand. Then also there will be no error. But what will happen? Again there will be no change, because again the same concept, it is not considering the value after space, right? But why? See this. S is an array. Whenever I use ampersand of S, since S is an array, it means address of the array, base address of the array. And writing only the array name is also known as base address. That's it. Both are same. So why I'm not writing ampersand here? Because I'm just saving one operator, right? I'm just simplifying it. So both are same. Please try to understand. Next, how to use getChar. You just have to use getChar function, and getChar function will hold the value whatever you are taking it from the keyboard, and afterwards it will transfer that value into the variable C. But try to understand here, I have written int C. Okay, let me execute this code first, then I will discuss one interesting point. Enter a character. I'm just writing A. See, whichever character I am entering, it is giving the output as the same character. Means my code is right. So getChar is for taking one character from the keyboard, and putChar is to print the character into the console. So it is just like printf and it is just like scanf. So whichever character I am providing to getChar, it is storing in the variable C, and whenever I am printing this C, I am getting the output. But here again there is a puzzle. So getChar is taking character, right? So C should be a character. Why here C is an integer? Is it a mistake from my side? Because my code is running. So there is one interesting point. GetChar is a function, and this function is inbuilt function in C. Means this function is not defined by us. So it is an inbuilt function. So since I am talking about function, I have explained it that each and every function should have a return type. Return type. Either it is void, either it is int. So each and every inbuilt function should have a return type. So since getChar is also a function, it should have a return type. So the already decided, or it is known as implicit return type of the getChar is int. Means whatever character it is taking, it is actually converted it into its corresponding ASCII value. So here my point is, you have to remember this point. Implicit return type of the getChar inbuilt function is int. Therefore, whichever variable is used to store the value of the getChar, this variable should be of type integer. This is another puzzle that you have to remember. So make a note here that implicit return type of the getChar inbuilt function is int. Now see this code. Here I have some of the justification and some of the question. First see the code. In this code, what I did, I have taken one character variable, and here I have stored one. I have discussed whenever I use single quote, and within that single quote, if I write anything in C, that thing will be treated as character. That thing I want to prove. Here I have used single quote, and within that single quote I have written one integer, that is 1. But here, since 1 is in single quotes, it is treated like a character. And here what I did, I started the initial value from 1 and I continue this loop up to 9, and I have enclosed my 9 within single quotes. It means 9 is also a character, and each time I am iterating this value by 1, and then I am printing the value of this iterator. So first see the code, then I will justify some of the points. This is another important question. So here what happens, it will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 9. So starting from 1, it is printing up to 9, right? It is printing up to 9. So my question here is, what is happening inside? Means here I am taking integer, but the variable is of type character. But again it is printing some integer. Why? It is not integer, right? It is a character. So since it looked like an integer but it's a character, means how could you understand later on if I want to perform some mathematical calculations using these numbers, then it will not be possible because those are characters. Whatever value you should write within single quote, it will be treated as character. That is my point. Means internally we are dealing with the ASCII value of those numbers. This is a classical example of GATES and PUTES. I have taken one array, right, of any size, and then I'm just taking the input. Means how to take input in this array, I'm just passing the base address of the array in the GATES function. So GATES function is very easy to use because it only deals with the base address. There will be no specifier, so there will be no confusion of %s or %c. And PUTES will also take help of the base address and it will print the output. Means, so enter a string, so this is the output.